So I'm at the oncologist today with my mother, who has stage 4 cancer. And there's this couple there who looks to be in about their 70s. And this woman is walking back from the check-in to the seats, and it's maybe 6 to 10 feet at the most. And she stops in her tracks. She's so weak. She's so tired. She's obviously the one with the cancer. And the husband has to get up and help her back to her seat. They sit down, and he pulls out his phone, and he starts going on about how Elon Musk and Trump are going to sue CNN, and how great that is, because maybe some of the other news organizations will realize that Trump and Musk don't like what they're saying, and they'll stop doing it. And she turns to him, frustrated and tired, and she's like, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "They're about to cut my Medicare. They're about to cut the health care I need to beat this cancer. I don't think our government should be suing CNN." And he gets himself all in a huff, and he's like, "Ugh, you don't care. Medicare won't cover the $3,000 a month drug. That is my mother's last hope to treat her cancer." Trump, his funding cuts ended the drug trial that my mother could have entered into for free to treat her cancer. And it had some promising outcomes. And this woman is sitting there saying, "I don't know how I'm going to pay for the next treatment or what's going to happen to my health care." And this man only cares about protecting Elon Musk and Trump because somebody might say something bad about him. It's a cult. I don't know how else to explain it. This man's wife is losing her life to cancer, and he cares more about the cult leaders and what people say about them.
Absolutely insane story, and it ties into a lot of stories that we've been hearing from Trump supporters. I mean, I talked about this story a few days ago, but let me introduce you to George Fusco, who said 2 years ago, quote, "The Republicans will not ever be able to do away with Social Security or Medicare because they are programs which we paid for. And I believe that some Republicans in the Congress and Senate would vote to maintain both programs. If that is an issue in the future, I would vote Democrat." Now, a lot of people are personally affected. Steve Bannon said it the best, honestly. I never thought I'd say that. But Steve Bannon said, "It is not just blue voters who use Medicare and Medicaid. A lot of red voters depend on both Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, a lot of people in red states." So then George Fusco says, 2 years ago, or I guess 3 years ago almost, "I voted Republican because I'm concerned that our country is a socialist form of government under the Democrats, which try to force you to lose your rights. Rights guaranteed by the Constitution, blah, blah, blah." This was November 10th, 2022. But now George Fusco just yesterday posted, "I voted for Trump, but now I have concern for all the cuts he and Elon are making. I have concerns about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid," I'm assuming he meant, but he said Medicare twice. "It seems like he's balancing the budget by excluding benefits for the poor and elderly. This isn't what I voted for, and I am extremely upset." And that's true. I covered another story on my channel the other day where an 82-year-old man had his identity wiped, all of the money pulled out of his bank account, his Social Security payments were paused, and his life was essentially nuked because Elon Musk misinterpreted data and thought he was a dead person sucking up Social Security. It is sloppy, reckless, and dangerous. Let's listen to Mehdi Hasan explain what's wrong with Doge. You'll like this clip. Make sure you drop a like and spam some blue hearts if you made it this far in the video as well.
Dan says that this is all normal and we have precedent for it. Dan's being disingenuous. Elon Musk is running a government department. He is not vetted. He has not gone through Senate confirmation hearings like cabinet officials and ambassadors. George Soros has never led any kind of government department. If he did, Republican heads would explode.
Yep, Mehdi Hasan is responding to Dan Crenshaw, by the way. Dan Crenshaw made the claim that it's basically just like George Soros.
He's never run anything in government, nor is Alexander Soros. Musk is literally standing next to the president. He is telling cabinet secretaries what to do. He's attending cabinet meetings. They're going to court. Dan's not telling you this, but there's literal court cases going on right now to determine the status of Elon Musk and Doge. And by the way, government lawyers are telling the judges he's not the head of Doge. Donald Trump stood in front of Congress and said he is the head of Doge. Maybe Dan can tell us today if Elon Musk, who hasn't been vetted by Congress, is the head of Doge. What's so sad to see is members of Congress like Dan just completely abdicating their responsibilities.
abdicating their responsibilities and ceding their power as co-equal branches of government, as Mehdi Hasan is about to say. But he also makes a great point about the slippery, wishy-washy tactic that Trump, Elon, and their lawyers are using. Now, Trump will say repeatedly that Elon Musk is the head of Doge. Elon Musk will say, hey, I'm the head of Doge, I'm the one leading this, but then whenever they're in courts, they try to claim that Elon Musk really doesn't have that much to do with Doge. He's mainly just an advisor to the president, and the president is the one executing everything. So they're being very slippery and disingenuous.
As a co-equal branch of government and deferring to both Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's kind of embarrassing to see. And I haven't finished my point. I didn't interrupt you. So when I finish, you can come back in. I know it's 2 against 1, so let me deal with Piers now. Piers on Doge itself. Yes, I have a problem. Well, we're both throwing stuff at me at the same time, so let me deal with them. Yeah, poor me. It's fine. I'm used to it. Piers is asking me about Doge. Let me deal with Doge. Doge is a joke of an outfit, right? Do we all want to get rid of waste in government? Of course I do. I did a long monologue on my show about why we should deal with the Pentagon, which fails an audit every year and wastes billions and trillions of dollars, right? I want to deal with corporate welfare. I want to deal with people who, con the government. Of course we do. But that is not what Doge is doing, right? Doge is a joke, chaotic outfit. It claims to have found fraud, Piers, not just waste, fraud. And yet Dan gave me a lecture on precise terms. Fraud? Has anyone been charged with fraud? That's a crime. Elon Musk has found no fraud. Because if he had found fraud, people would be arrested or charged by the DOJ right now. We've seen no evidence of fraud. So that's been a lie from Musk. As for waste, you know this, Piers. You've talked about it on the show. $8 billion they claimed to have found. It was $8 million. They said they found $250 million of waste at the Social Security Administration. It was $500,000. They triple counted a $665 million contract. The Wall Street Journal, that lefty bastion, has found so many mistakes and exaggerations in what they found. They've been absolutely harming the US government. They got rid of people who were looking after nuclear weapons and then tried to hire them back. They got rid of people who were trying to fight Ebola and then tried to hire them back. They got rid of people who were trying to fight bird flu and then tried to hire them back. They fired veterans at the Department of Veterans Affairs who were manning the crisis line for veterans. Dan is a veteran, served the country, should be outraged. And then they tried to hire them back too. The whole thing is a disaster and a joke.
Incredibly well said by Mehdi Hasan of Zateo. Really, really good work there debating Dan Crenshaw. And really quickly, you've probably heard the term flooding the zone. It's when there are so many stories coming out that you're overwhelmed and you just can't keep track. And that's Trump's intentional strategy. Steve Bannon said you can hide your corruption if you just have a bunch of stories coming out. Then people miss stories like this one. Trump quietly reversed a rule that banned lobbyists from giving gifts or joining the government. The only reason I caught this was thanks to Ground News in their blind spot feature. It highlighted that not many people on the right are covering this story. Not many publications are talking about this, and that's why I keep partnering with Ground News. Even if they weren't sponsoring and helping my independent journalism, I'd still use it because it's a great tool. It's a great tool to have at your disposal. They have an app and a website that pull in every source covering every story. Then they show you the political bias of every single source. They show you the factual reliability and, most importantly, who's funding them. Because let's be real, with all the stories coming out, you can get overwhelmed. And unless you're tracking it using something like Ground News and their blind spot feed, then you'll get lost in all of the chaos. So rather than getting lost in the chaos, I have a massive discount for you. You can get nearly half off of the Unlimited Vantage plan that I use for just $5 a month. Not bad. You can be in control of your news. Go click the link in the description below. Again, you can get half off if you click the link in the description below for ground.news. Go check it out. Thank you all.